Hello, it's Veronica and Naomi, and we're here to talk about a weird dilemma in Monster High Gen 3. In case you noticed yesterday's community post, something unfortunate happened with our friend Twyla. Our doll mommy was just dressing her up. She found some knee-high socks that looked really cute on her and looked really cute with her style. And as she take one off, this is what happened. The paint from one of her upper legs rubbed off a bit. Now, these painted details on these dolls are nothing unusual. Multiple dolls have them. Most notably, Frankie and Laguna are also notorious for this. And there's also Spectra with, like, from Gen 1 with the way her legs are. So something we have observed is this paint chipping problem. We've never seen it on a Gen 1 doll. And while we don't have a lot of the Gen 1 dolls with the painted on leg details, we do have a Toralei from Gen 1, and look at that. Her leg paint is perfectly intact. Like, there's nothing rubbing off. It's all there. So why is this a problem with Gen 3? And luckily, our Toralei seems to... Yeah, this is a new Toralei we got from a friend of ours, and her leg paint seems fine. A little more faded compared to her colors, but it's still there. It's still intact. And now the Frankies we have are also an interesting example. Because like we said, Frankie is a doll this happens frequently with as well. So moving on from Toralei, a friend also gave us a Frankie. We also have our own budget Frankie that we got. Another friend. They haven't had any leg chipping problems all that much. But the Frankie from our, other friend who, had their hair because she didn't like Gen 3 that much. Now this Frankie has more of that dilemma. As far as we know, nobody was particularly rough with these dolls. Our doll mommy was super careful when dressing Twyla last night. So why does this unfortunate dilemma happen? And why only Gen 3? We know Laguna is infamous for this. Seriously, look up Gen 3 Laguna, and you're bound to find a bunch of pictures of her where people either have to somehow fix her leg paint or seal it with Mod Podge. But we raised the question: why does this happen with Gen 3? Because so far this seems to be a Gen 3 exclusive problem that we haven't seen in any other modern Monster High line. We heard it's because Mattel does not get the paint sealed in the factory. So when they're being made, the paint may not always be properly sealed. And then you have to deal with it just chipping off like that. If you're not prepared or if you don't think to seal it first. Which maybe we may try to repaint Twyla's leg swirls on her on that leg and fill in the parts on her other leg where it chipped off a bit, but if we do that, which has the best of luck with it, because this is our only Gen 3 Twyla we have. Although Ardama did kind of customize her hairstyle a bit, so it's not as much of a problem. She's more of a doll she likes to hold and keep around and restyle a bit rather than like a display doll for her. But it's still so annoying when stuff like that happens with a doll that you just really bond with and really like, and then you have to deal with that. And we're not even going to address the problem with Monster High Gen 3 and the difference between polypropylene and saran. Yeah, some dolls have this atrocious polypropylene hair, while others have saran, and it's definitely, like, awkward. It's why there's so many people who try to look for, like, Cleo saran variants, because it's like, yeah, apparently some Cleo dolls have saran, but most of them don't, and it's very interesting to observe. And I'm sure you know Monster High has a huge fan community. It has a huge amount of collectors who collect it, who are familiar with its history. There are a bunch of customizers who frequently use these dolls in their customs as custom bases. We would even argue that in terms of just popularity, Monster High may outshine Rainbow High and Shadow High as far as like its general popularity goes. So it's a very important line for a lot of people, whether that be nostalgia, customizing, or even just doll collecting, or getting people into dolls. Monster High is a great line for this. It's very inclusive. The details on the dolls are very good. When you're buying a Monster High doll, normally you know what you're buying, and you just love them, you know? Or you've seen the show, and you've really bonded with a particular character, or found them relatable. Yeah, Monster High Gen 1 and Gen 3 have incredible storytelling. So, there's that aspect as well. And in case you noticed, in the Wake and Rainbow High rebrand, Monster High seems to be getting more popular. Because, well, it's an all-around great line. Even if it has its little problems. Yeah, Gen 1 has so many glue seepage problems. And, like, issues with wonky eyes. It's not even funny. Yeah. The wonky eyes is still an occasional problem, especially with this called Secret Cells, but, like, we feel like the glue seepage has mainly been solved in Gen 3. And yeah, we're gonna, like, mention again how Gen 1 never had the paint chipping problem. That was because it seems like Mattel would seal it better. Mattel would seal the paint better to prevent it from chipping. To prevent it from rubbing off or getting ruined somehow. And the fact that this happened to us just for putting cute knee-high socks on Twyla, wow. Like, our doll mommy couldn't have been gentler with her, but it's like, this still happens. It still happens. And we've heard stories of people getting Laguna and her paint chipping off her legs right out of the box. Yeah, we've heard horror stories about her, so We do not have a Monster High Gen 3 Laguna yet. But if we ever get one, we will be sure to talk about it in her review if that happens with her. And yeah. Laguna's not her favorite character in Monster High. We don't know. We feel like she's just a little too sporty with her style. But she is, like, the golden example of this leg chipping problem. And when it's happening on dolls like Frankie, yeah. Mattel definitely needs to address this, especially when it happens to, like, any, like, main character dolls and not just side characters. So Mattel, if you're even watching this, if you're even aware of the Monster High community and how they feel about this stuff, please fix this problem. Please allow for these dolls to have their paint sealed at the factory before they're put into their boxes, because this is a serious problem. Many collectors have been affected by it, and you need to fix this. And less people would have to do repaints with it and stuff. Well, that was us addressing the Monster High Gen 3 leg chipping problem. We hope you liked the video, and we hope you learned something about this problem, and that Mattel eventually fixes this to where they don't have to have plastic wrapped around dolls' legs in their packaging.